Picture perfect Westbury, a suburb untouched by darkness. Westbury, Long Island, 1956. A quintessential American suburb with neat lawns, white picket fences, children laughing, riding bikes on sidewalks. The Weinberger home, nestled on a tree-lined street, embodied this idyllic life. Sophie and Morris Weinberger lived for their baby boy Peter, his infectious laughter, their daily reward. They were about to learn its true face. July 4th, 1956. A day of joy turns into a nightmare. Fireworks lit up the night sky, their vibrant colors reflected in Peter's wide, innocent eyes. The boom, though, startled him. Sophie held him close, humming a lullaby. They decided to return home before the grand finale. The walk was short, the night air filled with the sounds of celebration. Back home, they tucked Peter into his crib. He wouldn't stop crying, the echoes of the fireworks still lingering. Sophie sang softly, her heart aching for her son. Morris checked the windows, a sense of unease settling in his gut. They finally managed to soothe Peter to sleep, exhaustion claiming them too. The last thing they remembered was the muffled sound of fireworks, because when they woke, their world had imploded. Peter was gone. The frantic search, a community united by fear and hope. The Weinbergers' cries for help pierced the morning quiet. Neighbors, their faces etched with concern, rushed to their aid. News, like wildfire, spread through Westbury. Baby Peter was missing. The community, once a haven of tranquility, was now united by fear and a desperate hope. Every lawn, every park, every inch of Westbury became part of the search. The police arrived, sirens wailing, breaking the silent tension. Questions swirled, but answers remained elusive. Every neighbor, every passerby from that night, a potential witness. The investigation began, a race against time to bring Peter home. The community, their hearts heavy with a shared dread, clung to the hope that their efforts wouldn't be in vain. Missing posters with Peter's cherubic face stared back from every street corner. The ransom note, a glimmer of hope, a surge of dread. 5 agonizing days passed. 5 days of relentless searching, of fading hope, of unbearable silence. Then a glimmer in the darkness. A letter arrived postmarked the day after Peter's disappearance. The ransom note. Their hearts leaped with a desperate hope, a lifeline in the abyss of their despair. But the note, penned with chilling detachment, brought with it a surge of dread. It demanded a hefty sum, a sum the Weinbergers, despite their comfortable life, didn't have readily available. The news of the ransom note ripped through Westbury, a cruel mix of hope and terror. The kidnappers were real, their threat chillingly tangible. The community, their resolve reignited, rallied around the Weinbergers. Friends, neighbors, even strangers offered whatever they could spare. The ransom drop, a dangerous dance with criminals, was planned with meticulous care. The disappearance of baby Peter sent shockwaves through the national consciousness. Newspapers across the country splashed his cherubic face on their front pages. The idyllic image of suburban America, a place of safety and security, was shattered. The FBI, their resources and expertise called upon, descended upon Westbury. Every lead, every whisper, every fleeting suspicion, meticulously scrutinized. The local police force, overwhelmed but resolute, worked tirelessly alongside the federal agents. Houses were canvassed, witnesses interviewed, and alibis checked. The community, caught in the grip of fear and uncertainty, cooperated fully. The investigation, a complex web of forensic analysis, witness testimonies, and psychological profiling, was a race against time. The ransom note, a chilling piece of evidence, took center stage in the investigation. The pressure on the investigators was immense, the weight of a nation's hope resting on their shoulders. Summer faded into fall, the leaves turning shades of gold and crimson. The weeks following the ransom note were filled with agonizing silence. The kidnappers, like phantoms, vanished into thin air. The carefully planned ransom drop yielded no results. Despair, like a chilling fog, settled over Westbury. The initial surge of hope, the unwavering belief in Peter's return, began to dwindle. The Weinbergers' home, once filled with laughter and warmth, became a shrine to their missing son. The investigation, though relentless, seemed to be hitting dead end after dead end. Leads dried up, witnesses offered no new information, and the trail grew colder with each passing day. The FBI agents, their faces etched with frustration and a profound sense of responsibility, refused to give up hope. The media frenzy, which had once engulfed Westbury, began to subside. The fear lingered, the questions unanswered, the pain still raw. 6 months passed. 6 months of agonizing silence, of fading hope, of unanswered questions. Then, on a bleak January morning, a phone call shattered the stillness. A woman, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and guilt, contacted the police. She claimed she had information about Peter, about that fateful night. Her neighbor, she revealed, had been acting strangely, suspiciously. He had a sudden influx of cash, and she had heard a baby crying in his house. The information, though fragmented and uncertain, breathed new life into the investigation. The neighbor, a recluse named John Smith, had been on the periphery of the investigation from the start. He lived alone, kept to himself, and had no apparent connection to the Weinbergers. His alibi for the night of Peter's disappearance was shaky at best. Now, armed with this new information, they obtained a search warrant for Smith's house. The tension, palpable in the air, crackled with anticipation. The search of Smith's house was meticulous, every inch of the property scrutinized. And then they found it, Peter's pajamas. The discovery of Peter's pajamas in John Smith's attic sent a collective gasp through the investigation team. It was the irrefutable link they had been searching for. Smith, confronted with this undeniable proof, crumbled. His facade of indifference shattered, replaced by a chilling confession that shook Westbury to its core. He had been watching Peter for weeks, captivated by the child's innocence, consumed by a twisted desire for a family of his own. On that fateful 4th of July night, with the neighborhood distracted by fireworks, he had snatched Peter from his crib. Driven by a warped sense of desperation and fueled by a delusional fantasy, he had taken the child to a secluded cabin in the woods. But reality, harsh and unforgiving, soon set in. Overwhelmed by the demands of caring for an infant and consumed by the fear of being caught, Smith's resolve crumbled. He confessed that he had left Peter in the woods, hoping that someone would find him. The trial of John Smith was a media spectacle, the nation captivated by the story of the stolen baby and the seemingly ordinary man who had perpetrated such a heinous act. The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence, from the ransom note to the discovered pajamas. The defense, hampered by their client's confession and the overwhelming evidence against him, focused on portraying Smith as a deeply disturbed individual. The jury, their faces grim and their eyes reflecting the weight of the case before them, deliberated for 3 long days. The tension in the courtroom was palpable. Finally, the verdict came. Guilty. Smith, his face a mask of emotionless resignation, was sentenced to life in prison. Justice, it seemed, had been served, but for the Weinbergers and the community of Westbury, the scars of that summer ran deep. The question that haunted everyone, the question that Smith refused to answer, was the whereabouts of Peter. Despite extensive searches, no trace of Peter was ever found. Years turned into decades. The memory of that fateful summer faded, the sharp edges of grief dulled by time. Westbury, scarred but resilient, slowly began to heal. The white picket fences remained, children still played on the sidewalks, but a sense of collective vigilance lingered. The Weinberger family, forever marked by their loss, carried on. They never moved, their home a testament to their enduring love for their son. The case of baby Peter became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fragility of innocence, the importance of community, and the enduring strength of hope. Though the mystery of Peter's disappearance remained unsolved, his story continued to resonate. Every year on the anniversary of his disappearance, the community of Westbury gathers to remember. It is a poignant reminder that even in the face of unanswered questions and enduring pain, the human spirit, sustained by love and hope, can endure.